Caryn Seidman-Becker at Clear headquarters. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for coming.
This is a stunning office. I can't wait for everyone to see the view. Little island. I mean, it's stunning. So, how long have you been here?
We've been here for a year and a half.
Okay.
We took the space over during COVID, knowing we wanted people to come back to work and give them something very different than they had in their living rooms.
You're a very proud New Yorker. Tell us a little bit about your background.
I do love New York, so the saying is true. My grandparents are originally from Brooklyn. They came over to Ellis Island and ran a hardware store in Brooklyn. My parents left New York and moved to DC, where they worked for the government. I was raised in Maryland, but every time I came back to New York, I loved the energy and the diversity and the absolute joy that was part of the city. And then I went to University of Michigan and I graduated and I came to New York without a job. Felt like working girl and let the river run, banging the doors down for a job, and got one and never left.
Yeah, and tell us a little bit about Clear, because this is an idea that you had over a decade ago, and you've been building this, I think, for 14 years now?
14 years, time flies when you're having fun. You know, I'm obsessed with customer experiences and leading a frictionless life. I'm a working mom of 3, and all I want to do is, fly through the world, getting as much done as you can, creating 36 hours in a 24-hour day. And 9/11 was also really game-changing for me in both knowing people who lost their lives there and feeling that you have a responsibility to make the world a better place and to make it safer. And I always said I didn't want to die and have people say I pick good stocks, which is what I used to do. So started Clear to be a secure identity platform, making experiences safer and easier physically and digitally. It never made sense to me that you're pulling all these cards out of your wallet to prove who you are and what you have access to. Biometrics can absolutely do that, did that in other parts of the world, and did that in the defense area in the US. So we believed in the consumerization of it and started in travel and believed it had so many other applications, and that's what we're doing.
Well, I mean, at the time, and even now, I think people are still getting accustomed to biometrics, to having their retina scanned and their fingerprint used to identify them. So how have you gotten people to feel more comfortable with that technology? And how have you seen it evolve even in the last 14 years?
So we were right that consumers now do love and trust biometrics when they trust your brand, when they feel like their privacy is protected, and when they feel like they're getting something for it. When we started Clear, there was no Touch ID or Face ID on an iPhone. But I do think that was really helpful for consumers to feel like, I trust this, it works for me, and I'm in control of it. And I think those are the really important things. But if you are having a more frictionless experience, if you are having a safer experience, and if you trust the company that is helping you do this, and you are really transparent on privacy, on data security, then I think good things happen, and you're seeing that again and again. But it's super important to keep building that trust and to keep building the use cases.
I think when people hear Clear, they think of the airport, but obviously you do more than that. I understand you're looking to expand well beyond even just concert venues, airports. What does the future look like for you guys?
So travel was the obvious place to start in a post 9/11 environment. It's where customer experience, security, and identity absolutely collided. But you are seeing that in so many other places. Think about the clipboard in healthcare, right? You're filling out the same information every time to prove, who you are in your electronic medical record. That makes no sense. You're taking out your driver's license to get into a building where they take a picture of you, then they give you a sticker, then makes no sense. You do that also to get into a hospital. Financial services, you're filling out information, you're doing all sorts of KYC. There's safer and more frictionless ways to do that. And then on the consumer front, you think about social media, you think about trust online, you think about the shared economy, you think getting alcohol delivered to your house. There's different pieces there of who you are and what you should have access to. So the whole thing here is identity matters. Those are all places where Clear is expanding and playing and making a real difference in consumers. Travel is a major part of what we're doing. Travel's hard and getting harder, and so many opportunities for innovation to change it. And these other areas, they are here and now issues. When whole companies are going down for days on end, think in the gaming space and the healthcare space, you know that we need to make a change.
Yeah, actually, I do want to touch on the technology. Would you consider yourself a tech company? What is your role in creating some of these new biometric technologies?
I consider Clear a tech-enabled company, right? We're about the customer experience and making it safer and easier, serving our members and our partners. And we are not creating our own biometric algorithms. We're always looking for the best. We're creating software over that and connecting it all together. And so, sort of like Intel Inside, you always want to find some of the best technologies to make sure that you're always evolving, and then we build our own technology over that. So that's why I think of us as technology enabled. I also think when you're putting the customer first, it's like, what's the problem you're trying to solve, and what's the technology that you're going to bring to solve that? When you look at some of the issues of late, calling into a call center and pretending that you're someone that you're not to get credentials to get into a system the front door, Clear's launched a verified account recovery product, which is getting great traction in the market in order to ensure that you are you and they're giving credentials to the right people, right? That's identity mattering. And that's
I've got to think that's going to be a huge issue with AI too.
It's absolutely a huge issue. I used to say I really believe in voice biometrics. I now think that's a little harder, but you do want multi-factor authentication, right? Face and liveness and lots of other things behind it, and I think you have to continue to stay in front of these things.
Interesting. So creating a lot of the software, sourcing a lot of the hardware, and then connecting with the customer.
We build our own hardware, and so our NV pods are us putting it together because we want it to be great for our customers. And there's all sorts of things, from getting the right camera to getting the right hardware and making sure that you have the right document authentication technology. So we're not making the camera, right? But we are putting it all together ourselves to serve our purposes.
I do want to ask about TSA. We have to address that because that's where people know Clear most, is the airport. And you now have 23 million customers. So tell us a little bit about how the operations are going there and what the customer experience has been like.
So first and foremost, we're obsessed with the customer experience. To me, it's everything, and knowing that you can delight people and make it safer was really part of the genesis of Clear. All that being said, in 2023, the customer experience did not consistently meet our extremely high expectations. And we launched Next Gen Identity, which added to the challenge. We upgraded millions of people in a short period of time to Next Gen Identity, which is the unlock for great technology and automation that you're seeing now to enhance the customer experience and scale it. And so that's really important. But we look at member experience scores every single day. They took a dip in 2023 at the beginning of 2024 and have been climbing steadily out. So what you're seeing with our new technology is IDs are staying in pockets, our systems are faster, we've launched new technology. You'll see these handhelds to transmit digital identity. And so we're really working hand in glove with TSA at the local level to transmit digital identities to enhance safety and the customer experience. And we're all over it. And as you look at this year, as we launch Lane of the Future, you're going to see lanes that look a lot more like what you see in places like Dubai and Tokyo, with e-gates, with handhelds, face-first technology. So you talked about fingerprints and eyes. We're moving to face-first. We have it on mobile. It'll be in lane, which means you don't really break stride when going through. And so with 1 million more people coming through airports in 2030, on top of the 3 million and change that you're going to see over Memorial Day, you've got to launch this innovation. It's crucial to enhance the customer experience, enhance security, and it's really everything.
Yeah, I do have to ask too about, because United has unveiled a digital ID, Delta has unveiled a digital ID. Does that threaten what Clear is doing at the airport, or how are you viewing that?
We always expected biometrics to go mainstream. Go back to 2010. I'm kind of surprised it's taken this long for biometrics to come in payment. People are talking about biometrics in mobile voting in places, and to come to the airport. It has to be everywhere. It is the answer to safety and customer experience. And so touchless pre-check is a great thing. That's what Delta and United and other airlines will be doing, which means you're using your face as opposed to your driver's license when you're a pre-check member. We love pre-check. We've launched pre-check, so you can enroll in pre-check at ClearPods or renew online. And so we think that technology is a really good thing, but it's a feature, not a customer experience. And so what we're focused on, both in the airport and beyond the airport on home to gate, is driving a frictionless customer experience. I know that's what I want. I think that's what your readers want. It's what New Yorkers want. There's 64 million people coming to New York City this year, most of them through airports. They want a frictionless experience. They want to know with Clear's Home to Gate app, you can know when to leave your house to get to the gate 40 minutes ahead because we've put together travel the Clear lane and then how far the walk is, right? If you're at the end of JFK Terminal 4 versus the beginning, that's a big difference. I want that information. We're piloting things like bag drop in Denver or an ambassador meeting you at your car through the app. There's so many things to do to create this predictable, universal, frictionless experience, and that's what we're focused on. And biometrics are a piece of it, so is mobile technology, right? And so I think it's an incredibly exciting time. But travelers should expect, and quite frankly want, biometrics throughout their airport journey everywhere.
Interesting. So walk us through too a little bit more about the lane you said is being unveiled. I have not seen this yet, and I'm sure a lot of people watching this haven't either. So what does that look like? Walk us through the handheld devices, what that experience is going to feel like.
So it's coming out in phases. If you're in if you're in any of the LaGuardia today, you will see a handheld transmitting a digital identity, a mobile driver's license from a Clear handheld to a piece of TSA equipment. Your ID never comes out of your pocket, but that's digital identity and the transmission of it and connecting the two systems together. You see handhelds at the top reading boarding passes. What you will see is what we're calling NV pods, which is enrollment and verification put together, in the lane later this summer, which is face first, so no more fingerprints and eyes. It was the right way to start. I think it's harder than face, and I think people have become very accustomed to face and having a unified experience in our mobile platform, whether you're doing it on LinkedIn or checking in at Wellstar or in the airport. You should have the same experience. So those are some of the things, as well as at the top of the lane, what we're very excited about is to bring e-gates and automation there. And so again, what you want is automation, it enhances security, it drives scale and customer experience.
So, I mean, a year from now or 2 years from now, are you envisioning something where somebody can literally just walk through? What do you think we can expect to see in the next couple of years?
I think you won't be breaking stride. I think e-gates, I think continued integration with biometrics between Clear and the Department of Homeland Security and TSA are really important to drive scale and never breaking stride. I would also say it's on either side. So if I know that I'm getting to the airport at 6:10 and I can have a Clear ambassador. Everyone loves Clear ambassadors. They love our technology. I think they love our ambassadors more for people who say, welcome back. Hundreds of ambassadors in the New York City airport serving almost 3 million Clear members in New York City, right? It's what you come to expect. But if they could meet you at your car, if they could help you drop your luggage, I do think, why are you waiting for your luggage on the carousel? Couldn't you opt to have it delivered to your hotel or your home, right? That's taking time out of the entire trip and making it truly frictionless. So I picture you, dropping your bag, coming through the Clear lane. You can do that in Denver today, potentially triggering your coffee order so you don't have to wait in line. You can grab it and keep walking and walk onto your plane. An experience where you never break stride, where you have control and predictability. That's when I think technology is used for good.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds very appealing. I would love to have somebody hand me a coffee as I'm getting on the airplane.
But when you think about all the fragments of a trip,
100%.
It's too many, and you can use technology. What if you could reserve your parking spot, right? Like, it should be predictable and frictionless.
Are these different tiers potentially that you would be selling for a Clear member? Just obviously, I would imagine it costs more for somebody to have their luggage delivered than it does just for the option of having your face scanned.
I think there will be different tiers or transaction pricing, right? So you could pay for certain things on a one-off basis. You also start to think about, we invested in a company called Landline where you could be picked up and screened at a sterile place off airport on a secure bus and be taken to the back of the airport, right? So again, this happens in other places and is actually starting to happen here in the US. And so there's different ways to drive security, enhance security, use technology, and delight customers.
Well, we love surprise and delight. So I am curious though, because in the US, it does feel like we're a little bit behind when it comes to this. And I also think, during COVID, we were pulling out little pieces of paper, and even that's what we have with our license today. It's literally just a laminated piece of paper that we're showing. It feels very old school, just like it was showing your little vaccine card. Why has it been so slow to adopt these technologies when it seems like other countries are very eager to use them and do so pretty efficiently and pretty well?
I think that's a great question. I always like to study Estonia. It's the most digital economy. All 1.6 million people there are sort of biometrically enrolled at the beginning, and there's so many efficiencies that come from that. I think the time is now. And so even you look at, I agree with you on COVID, but we started Health Pass, right? So connecting your identity on a mobile phone to your lab results or to your vaccine results directly, and then connecting that to OpenTable on your dinner reservation or to the Las Vegas Raiders to get into the game. So I think innovation is accelerating. I think more people are asking the question you're asking that we were asking 14 years ago. And also, I think trust and safety is becoming a bigger issue, right? So when you see something like what happened to MGM and it's going down for days on end, I think the sense of urgency might not have been there before, or the products were not ready. The technology is ready. There's trusted companies doing it. The problems are here and now, and the sense of urgency, I think, is driving that. That's what we're seeing. We're seeing that in healthcare. We're seeing that in the hospitality industry. We're seeing that online. There's a lot of laws calling for, age verification for kids on social media.
Yeah.
So I do think if you sort of take a step back, the sense of urgency is building, and I think the digital transformation that you'll see over the next few years is going to be game-changing.
Interesting. So obviously a lot of potential partnerships for Clear. I would imagine it sounds like potentially with social media companies. You mentioned there's laws being passed that children under a certain age can't be on social media. What kind of conversations are you having right now with other companies?
So we've publicly announced partnerships with LinkedIn, which we're almost a year into, which has been going phenomenally well and has gotten great adoption from their user base. Partnered with Wellstar in healthcare for check-in, partnered with public.com for online fintech. We're partnered with a large retailer to reduce fraud in their stores. You start to think about the physical shopping experience, and that needs to be safer and easier when you go to a drugstore now.
How would that work?
Sure. So a few ways. Interestingly, a company like Costco, right, already asks you for a card to get in, right? They're looking at identity or a form of identity in terms of membership, and they have a very low fraud rate because of it. But you look at what's happening at drugstores. You could use your face, which generates a QR code, to unlock, a glass door where you could get your Tylenol or your Sudafed, as opposed to calling for associates. If you're renting equipment at a retailer where they're asking for a driver's license, where you're signing contracts and having to put down payment, verifying and authenticating your identity through Clear and connecting that to the retailer is safer and easier. And so we're seeing real results when doing that.
Yeah. Other applications we haven't talked about for Clear?
So many.
Okay. If there's any that pop to mind, we want to hear them.
We'll keep you posted.
Okay.